Welcome to Everything Payroll Needs to Know About Deferred Compensation in 2018. So first, let's talk about what we're going to review today. So there's several things we're going to talk about today. So first, we're going to talk about qualified pension and profit sharing plans, or what's otherwise known as IRC 401A. So a lot of you may not be necessarily familiar with all the IRC codes, but I'm going to reference them throughout today's webinar. A lot of you will know things like is 401k or 403b because you know that's the plan that maybe your company has. But I'm going to reference the code numbers as well, like IRC 401A, what really falls under that. And that's really where the government is defining what kind of plans you have. Either you have a defined benefit plan or a defined contribution plan. Both of these are very important pieces to understand. So we're going to take some time really understanding the two types of plans and what that means if you have one plan or the other. Then we'll talk about cash deferred arrangements, which is otherwise known as 401k, IRC 401k. Some of you may know this from participating in a 401k plan. So we're going to talk about those plans and what those mean. A lot of what I'm going to give you today will review things around these plans and what you need to know around these plans from a payroll perspective. A lot of times, benefits is in their own world doing their own thing, and sometimes payroll doesn't always understand the impact of certain things. And I know in my career I've had benefits people come in with their hair on fire. Oh, we got to fix this. Oh, we got to do this. And I don't necessarily understand why the criticality of fixing, and that's really what today's webinar is about, is to give you enough data to kind of understand our counterparts and why they do what they do and what we need to understand to assist them. Then we're going to talk about tax-deferred annuities, IRC 403B. Tax-sheltered annuities are a little bit different than 401k, and they're for particular types of industries. So depending on if you are a nonprofit or something of that nature, you may fall under the 403B requirement, and you wouldn't provide a 401k. Typically, you're going to find that you either provide a 401k or 403B, but not both. And then the third one is deferred compensation plans for public sector or tax-exempt groups, which is for IRC 457B. Again, just like 401k and 403B, you're going to have one of these plans, not two of them. So, but we're going to talk about all three depending on the type of employer that you may be. Then we'll talk about employee-funded plans, IRC 501c 18D. So these are some special plans that some employers may choose to provide that are employee-funded plans only. But typically these other plans, there's an employee and an employer funding. So as an employer, you are participating in retirement as a benefit for your employees. Some employers don't have the ability or the accounting to do that, so they will actually have a 501c, and we're going to talk about what that means as well. We're going to talk about some other plans, such as some non-qualified deferred compensation plans. Now, sometimes employers will have a qualified deferred comp plan, like a 401k or a 403b, and then they will also have a non-qualified deferred compensation plan on top of that. So for their highly comped individuals, depending on the industry you are, you will find that it'd be very valuable for you to have a non-qualified plan as well. So then that way, your highly comped employees have something else to fall into when they hit a lot of these limits that we're going to talk about. And depending on the compensation level that they're at, you can hit those limits pretty quickly. And then we'll talk about plan limits as well. And then obviously at the end we'll have some time for some question and answer as well. So as you can see, we've got a lot to cover in a very short period of time. So let's get started. So 401A, qualified pension and profit sharing plans. So like I had mentioned earlier, we were going to review qualified pension and profit sharing plans, and really what does the IRS define under IRC 401A. IRC is short for Internal Revenue Code. So this is all driven by how the Internal Revenue Code has all of these different plans written. So, it's not, you can go from company to company, and companies will have small nuances for their plans. But most companies, a lot of this will be very consistent because everyone has to follow these requirements that the Internal Revenue Service has in place.